Hi friends, today let's discuss a topic of atmosphere from climatology unit of geography. While understanding a topic, it is always important to understand what are the subtopics that has to be covered in a particular topic. So in this, the subtopics are first we need to understand its definition. पहले definition समझना है कि क्या होता है atmosphere आखिर इतना हम सब पढ़ रहे हैं. Then after that we need to understand evolution of atmosphere, how this atmosphere has evolved over a period of time. Then we need to understand composition. What does this atmosphere comprises of? Then we need to understand its structure. So this will cover our entire syllabus. And again, how do we decide what has to be the syllabus? So always PYQ plus NCRTs is our guiding light. So based on this thing, we can understand these are the areas that we have to cover. So what is atmosphere? Let's say this is the Earth surface, and around the Earth surface, a blanket of gases are surrounding it. The blanket of gases are surrounding it, and Earth is holding this blanket of gases because of the gravity. So this is what the atmosphere definition is. So these gases are extending till 1,000 kilometers almost. And the composition is not same or homogeneous till 1,000 kilometers. It keeps on varying. We will study these things in detail in the structure. It has various layers, and the composition is also keeps on varying. हम समझते हैं इसको. पहले हमें बस definition जानना चाहिए कि when we say atmosphere क्या होता है. So it is nothing but the blanket of gases that is surrounding the Earth's surface. Nice, fine. But how did it come? आया कैसे है atmosphere? First, पहले when the Earth was evolving, or even before the evolution of the Earth, this universe was made up of the two prime gases, hydrogen and the helium. This is nothing but nebula, which was also a nebula hypothesis was also provided by the Kant and the Laplace. Okay, so initially space में बस hydrogen and helium ही था. So in the same way, even on the Earth surface there was hydrogen and helium, but we had sun. So we are revolving around the sun, right? There is a sun. Okay, and from the sun, solar winds are coming up like this, and these are very intense. These are very strong. So these winds have stripped off the Earth's surface these prime level of the gases. So hydrogen and helium has been lost. जब पहले evolution हो रहा था सब सारा जगह everywhere there was only hydrogen and helium. ठीक था, अर्थ के ऊपर भी हाइड्रोजन एंड हीलियम था, बट सन से जो भी रेडिएशंस आ रहे हैं या फिर सोलर विंड्स आ रहे हैं, दे हैव पुश्ड अवे दिस हाइड्रोजन एंड हीलियम. तो इससे क्या हुआ, तो हाइड्रोजन हीलियम तो चले गया, तो बाकी का जो गैसेस है वो कैसे आया. तो अर्थ वाज अ काइंड ऑफ बर्निंग बॉल. इन द सेकंड फेज व्हाट हैज हैपेंड वाज, द सेकंड फेज when the earth was burning ball, various volcanic activities has happened. So from within the earth surface, like huge volcanoes has happened. So through these volcanoes, from within the interior of the earth, various gases start to rise. And primarily, these gases were made up of CO2, water vapor, and nitrogen. ये पूरे आ रहे थे. So primarily, the second phase comprises of the carbon dioxide and the hydrogen. Then what has happened? So you have the carbon dioxide and you have the water vapor. So this has led to the cloud formation. Water vapor, nothing but a gaseous form. Water in a gaseous form. So this has led to the condensation and the cloud formation. ये कैसे होता है? Water vapor को लेके जाके clouds and condensation कैसे होता है? We will see these things in a subsequent lectures of the climatology. But for now, understand that whenever there is a water vapor, if that gets cooled down, so it will lead to the condensation and cloud formation. And after the cloud formation, there was intense rainfall. So intense rainfall was happening. What has happened with this? What was happened with this rainfall is, so cloud formation and rainfalls. So along with this rainfall, so even the carbon dioxide got dissolved. So because of this thing, carbon dioxide along with the water vapor have started to get accumulated in the depressions that are present on the Earth's surface. This has become over a period of time oceans. So your oceans has highest reservoirs of carbon dioxide and also the water vapor in the liquid form, that is water. So these things, because of these things, the amount of carbon dioxide and water vapor that was present in the second phase of the atmosphere has come down. And as a result, the subsequent gases like nitrogen and other gases has increased its composition. Then third phase, in the third phase, you had highest amount of the nitrogen and then oxygen. From where did the oxygen come? तो पहले oceans form हुए थे. Oceans में initially life has started to evolve. Okay. Slowly, initially जब life था, it was based on some kind of chemical reactions. Photosynthesis तो अभी नहीं था. Chemical reactions के through life चलना चालू हो गया था. Eventually, primitive forms of plants has been formed. What does this plants do? They inhale carbon dioxide and they exhale the oxygen. So as a result, because of the evolution of the plant and other life organisms, the oxygen composition in the atmosphere has increased, and we have arrived, especially because of the living organisms, the current form of atmosphere has been evolved. Okay, so this is the origin of the atmosphere: primary, secondary, and tertiary. The primary atmosphere comprises of the hydrogen, helium, and the methane. Then what was happened? The loss of the gases, hydrogen and helium, escaped into the space because Earth's gravity was very weak and the strong solar winds from the sun has deflected them away from the sun. Then how this hydrogen and helium came, like we have discussed, the initially entire universe was primarily made up of the nebula. Okay, so that was the scenario how the early atmosphere made up of the hydrogen and helium was lost. Then there was a secondary atmosphere. In the secondary stage, various gases that were trapped in the interior of the earth got released, and that process is called outgassing. Outgassing is a very important keyword. Outgassing, that means the trapped gases that are present in the interior of the earth's surface are coming out. So because of this thing, you got new forms of the gases that is primarily composed of the water vapor and the carbon dioxide. And this led to the formation of the clouds and intense raining. This has cooled the earth's surface, and as a result, oceans has been formed. Because of this oceans, life forms have been evolved, and eventually your atmosphere has composed of primarily the gases composition is nitrogen, and then comes the oxygen, and after that argon carbon dioxide has been developed. So this is how the evolution of the atmosphere has happened. Now let's discuss what is this atmosphere is made up of. Is it only the gases? So let's understand the composition of the atmosphere. The composition of the atmosphere, yes, it does has the gases and it also has the dust particles. And within these gases, there are certain gases whose composition is always fixed, and certain gases, their composition keeps on varying. Like say water vapor. Your composition of the water vapor changes at the equator and as the poles. You have highest amount of the water vapor nearby the equator, while you have the less amount of the water vapor at the poles. Logic तो simple है. Water vapor कहाँ मिलेगा? Water vapor क्या है? Water तो evaporate होगा जब water vapor होगा. Water कब evaporate होगा? जब temperature ज़्यादा रहेगा. Temperature ज़्यादा कहाँ पर है? Equator के पास है. As a result, equator has the highest amount of the water vapor, and as you go from equator towards the poles, the water vapor gets decreased. So now let's understand the composition. देखो ये हो गया अपना composition, and this is also called as dry gas composition. Nitrogen, oxygen, argon, carbon dioxide, and this composition is always fixed. अगर आप इंडिया में हो, पाकिस्तान में हो, बांग्लादेश में हो या यूएसए में हो, the composition of the gases is fixed, and up to 80 kilometers even vertically, the composition is fixed. Okay, this composition where I remove the varying component is called the dry gas. जब आप इसी composition में varying components भी include करते हो, then composition of the atmosphere change होगा. But if I remove the varying component, that is called the dry gas, or also called as a constant gases, because their constant remained virtually same for most of the earth history. तो हमें ये पता होना चाहिए कि it is made up of the gases. Okay, and then there are certain dust particles, and we can also have little bit more information about the individual gases, which we do at the certain other point of the time. Okay, so this is the individual gases composition. This is the variable gas composition, like water vapor, dust particles, ozone, and the aerosols. So let's now try to move into the other topic, that is called the structure of the atmosphere. Structure of the atmosphere. This is very important topic. So if you can see here, the structure of the atmosphere, this is the vertical structure. Now this is the surface of the earth, and as you go vertically, this is how the structure of the atmosphere looks like. So you have different layers called troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, and thermosphere. Above that 400 kilometers, it is called the exosphere. Now this structure of atmosphere is primarily divided through the temperature. We are dividing the vertical layers of the atmosphere through temperature. मतलब देखो, ये हो गया अपना एटमॉस्फेयर जो अर्थ के ऊपर है. Now we are dividing this atmosphere into various layers using the concept of temperature. तो पहले हम ट्रोपोस्फियर को ले लेंगे. Then we will go in the mesosphere. Then, sorry, this should be the stratosphere. Then we will go for the mesosphere. उसके ऊपर हो गया thermosphere. So how are we dividing this thing? Based on the temperature. In the troposphere, the temperatures will keep on decreasing like this. अगर समझो कि यहाँ पर एक temperature है, we show you this thing in the same diagram. Okay, so here if the temperature is 20 degrees centigrade, it keeps on decreasing in the troposphere. Then if you can see here, the temperatures are again starting to increase. So that layer where the temperatures are rising is called the stratosphere. Again, after a pause, the temperatures are again falling. That is called the mesosphere. And again, the temperature starts to increase. ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? To understand why the temperatures are falling in the troposphere, you need to understand the concept. We get radiations from the sun. From the sun, you get various types of the electromagnetic waves. So through the sun, we are getting electromagnetic waves, that is radiations in different forms. In this, visible rays comes to the earth's surface, and broadly, these radiations are the short wavelengths. These wavelengths are in the short wavelengths. So they come to the earth's surface and they hit the earth's surface and they reflect back in the long wave. Now, whatever the heat you feel it is because of the long wave. That is the reflection that is happening on the earth surface, not because of the short wave radiations that are coming from the sun. आपको जो भी जितनी भी गर्मी हो रही है, वो अर्थ के रिफ्लेक्शन से हो रहा है, not by the direct short waves that are coming from the sun, because of the radiation of the reflection of the long wave radiation from the earth surface. So as a result, as you move away from the earth surface, your hotness will be reduced. You don't feel such a degree of heat. So as you move away from the Earth's surface, as altitude increases, temperature decreases. Why is this happening? Like I said, primarily we all experiences the temperature because of the reflection of the long wave from the Earth's surface, not by the short wave. So as you move away from the Earth's surface, you will feel less heat. You might have noticed this thing. So as you move in the hill stations or even in the apartments, as you move in the fourth floor, fifth floor, generally your experience of the temperatures will come down. So this is the prime reason because of which temperatures falls as you move in the troposphere. Then why does the temperature increases in the stratosphere? The temperature increases in the stratosphere because here you have the ozone layer. This ozone layer absorbs the UV radiations that are coming from the sun. This ozone layer will absorb the UV radiations that are coming from the sun. Again, these are the short wave, which are getting trapped by the ozone layer that is present in the stratosphere. And as a result, the temperature rises in this region. You can see here, temperatures start to rise. But as you pass through the stratosphere, there is no more ozone layer. Now you do not have the ozone layer to trap the UV rays. So temperatures again start to fall and it can go back to as low as in the minus 50 and 60 degrees centigrade. But again, after the mesosphere, the temperatures start to rise again. Why is this happening? Now the rise of temperature is because of the short wave. Here, the rise of temperature is because of the short wave radiation, that is radiations from the sun. But however, uh, in this area above the 80 kilometers, the atmosphere is so thin. The atmosphere is very thin. You will not be able to experience any sort of heat. You will not, आपको feel ही नहीं करेगा. आपको जो भी गर्मी या ठंडाई लगती है because of the atmosphere, because of the movement of the air. जब वहां पर एटमॉस्फियर ही बहुत थिन है तो आप फील ही नहीं करोगे कि गर्मी हो रही है या ठंडी हो रही है. बट टेम्परेचर रेडिएशन तो बहुत ज्यादा है. अगर आप स्पेस क्राफ्ट में ट्रैवल करके आप स्पेस सूट से निकल के हाथ बाहर रखेंगे तो आपका हाथ वापस नहीं आएगा. यू विल लूज योर हैंड. So this is how such a radiations are happening. Okay, and also another important point in this layer is beyond 80 kilometers in this thermosphere, your composition of the atmosphere gets rarefied. Matlab, we have discussed wherever be you are, India, Pakistan, and wherever you are, the composition of the gases is same. Like nitrogen, oxygen, argon, ये composition same ही रहेगा. But it is still only 80 kilometers. 80 के बाद, whatever the gases which are dense, वो एक layer में form होंगे. So उसके ऊपर lighter वाला gas form होगा. तो ऐसे layered structure में होंगे. And in the areas where the temperatures are very high, your gases become ionized. And so within the thermosphere, you have the ionosphere. Within the thermosphere, you also have a layer called ionosphere, where your atmosphere is in the charged form. Okay. So here I'm stopping my lecture. So I will continue this lecture in the subsequent sessions. So we have discussed broadly, we have not yet finished the structure of the atmosphere. We have discussed broadly how various layers are there and how the temperature and why the temperature is changing in the various layers of the atmosphere. Okay, this is how we have to go and we have to understand the various layers of the atmosphere. Okay, in our subsequent lectures, we will try to understand more about the troposphere. What are the various meteorological phenomena? If I tell you, majority of the cloud formation happens in the troposphere. Majority of the rainfalls happen in the troposphere. And all your jet crafts will fly above the troposphere, that is called the stratosphere. Why is the scenario? Why do you have only meteorological phenomena restricted to the troposphere? ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है? And why the stratosphere is devoid of clouds? होंगे इधर भी कुछ स्ट्रेटोस्फेरिक क्लाउड्स होंगे, पोलर स्ट्रेटोस्फेरिक क्लाउड्स, बट मेजॉरिटी ऑफ द मेटेरियोलॉजिकल फिनोमेना लाइक व्हाट एवर यू से, rainfalls, wind systems, jet streams, cyclones, everything is restricted only in the area of the troposphere. Troposphere के ऊपर कुछ भी नहीं होगा. There is a layer called tropopause which is acting as a lid beyond which no weather phenomena can happen. And another important event of this mesosphere is your meteoroids enter in this mesosphere layer and gets burnt. So here you have the meteoroid showers. And in the thermosphere, sometimes colorful light events happens that is called aurora borealis and aurora australis. Because some of the solar wind systems or magnetic field charged particles escape from the Earth's sun surface and enters into the ion particles in the ionosphere and they release a colorful events. So these are the certain important more points that we need to be discussed, like within the troposphere, within the stratosphere, what are the various things that are going to be covered. Okay, so these things we will discuss in the subsequent lectures. I hope you people have enjoyed the lecture. Okay, thank you. We will meet soon again. Bye bye. Take care.